I'm Lindsay.
I'm Chloe.
I'm Tiffany.
All right, and we're representing Miss Hayes.
And I'm going to be representing Chuck of Chuck's Wagon.
All right. So I actually we have some questions for you. Maybe we can use that to get started. Um, so I guess initially we're kind of wondering about what you're looking for in regards to renovations. Is that something that you're going to be doing yourself if you were to get this property, or is that something your clients would be wanting to do themselves, or what are your feelings about the renovation?
So renovations on the property, there would be some minor renovations that would be needed for the building just to kind of equip the building for Chuck's catering. So one of the main issues would be working on putting in a vent for one of the stoves. But in general, the renovation costs that we're going to be looking at are around $16,000.
Okay, and I guess my main question is that something that Chuck would be doing on his own, or is he hoping that we would be doing some renovations?
Mhm. So when it comes to the outfitting the space in general, there are a couple of different categories of work that would need to be done on the building in order to make it ready for Chuck's Wagon to take its place. So renovations would be part of that, and then installing equipment would be another part of that.
For the class 3 kitchen?
For the kitchen,
Yes,
yes.
because our client, when he met, or when she met with him before, I think he mentioned that he would need a class 3 kitchen. And so what we're really trying to figure out is if all of this are things that he would be doing himself, or if he's having like a want or an expectation that Mrs. Hayes would be doing the renovations for him, would be installing his kitchen, or is he going to do that on his own?
Okay. Well, the installation is kind of open. Chuck is open to either doing it himself or possibly having Miss Hayes oversee the renovation and the equipment install. Of course, Chuck would be willing to compensate for that install. Um, he is really, if possible, looking for someone else to oversee the renovations just because it kind of takes away from his day-to-day operations of his company.
Okay.
Whereas it comes to equipment install, he's a little bit more flexible just because he has some strict um, standards
Okay.
for how that is to be done, so that one is a little bit more open.
Okay.
Ms. Hayes is fully prepared to take on renovations. Okay, if that is something you were looking for someone else to do, I would love to know a little bit more about the kitchen. So he is hesitant about having other people do it because he wants to have everything under control and get up to what he needs it to be.
Yes, and I mean, he would be open to having the equipment installed by a third party, specifically Ms. Hayes. But he would want to have it done according to his specifications.
Okay. So I guess, well, kind of what I'm hearing is maybe even that could be left for him, the kitchen installation part, but he would want Mrs. Hayes to do the renovations and maybe leave the kitchen part to him. Would that maybe be something that would
Mhm.
satisfy his interest?
Yes, so the renovation specifically, he's particularly motivated to have Ms. Hayes do the work for.
Okay.
He, as I said, is open to very nice compensation for it. When it comes to the equipment, he would be open to having Ms. Hayes do the installation as long as she does it according to his specifications. And he would be willing to compensate her pretty nicely for that as well.
And you said 16,000 is what he's willing to pay for renovations?
For the renovations, that's how much the renovations will cost.
That's okay. And so, okay, so maybe I think for now, at least we were just kind of interested in what he's feeling about that. So maybe we could return back to that. I do have some other
Yeah,
questions
absolutely.
as well. Um, and, and this is actually in regards to renovations, but I guess what is the expectation for the amount of time? Because I know Miss Hayes gave us a timeline for when she would believe she would be able to get it complete, but if he were to buy this property, does he have a time that he would like to be moved in, have everything done?
Mhm. If you don't mind me asking, what is Mrs. Hughes' timeline for this?
Well, she could get the renovations alone done in a week, but if he's wanting her to do the kitchen, installate all of that as well, it would probably take about a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. My client would be very open to that timeline. When it comes to moving in, he's not in a huge crunch,
Okay.
just because his current location where he is set up, he does have access to that space for another 6 months or so. So time is not the biggest constraint at the moment.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
So I guess, I do have other, we have other questions, but I'm interested to see kind of his price point in general for the property, what he was thinking.
Oh, so in that case, let's just kind of talk about the property more in general, if you all are open to that discussion.
Yeah.
So the lot that Chuck is interested in buying, it looks like you have the map open there as well. Is going to be lot 234, the lot that includes a building on it. I'm not sure if he had discussed this with your client at all, but he's also interested in buying the lot next to it, lot 232.
Well, I think we should stay, why don't, for right now, can we stay focused on lot 234 and maybe we can circle back to the other lot?
Unless you'd be willing to tell us why you want.
Yes. So I would like to talk about them in tandem if possible, just because the purchase of both of those lots is particularly important to my client. Because his intention for lot 232 would be to turn it into a parking lot for Chuck's bike.
Okay.
So the reason for that is because lot 234 does not have room for a parking lot, nor does it have a curb cut in order for him to park his car or the catering van in that parking lot. Whereas lot 232 has a curb cut and it has enough space for about 4 parking spots.
Um, is this a deal breaker to not give those slots? That our client really would not like to see to go away with that.
Yeah. Would there be any interest in just lot 234, or he's only interested if he would be getting both?
Well, may I ask what Miss Hayes' interest and intentions with lot 232?
We're not at
Okay.
liberty to discuss her intentions with the property.
Okay. Well, it is fairly important to my client to have lot 232. If there's any way we can talk about potentially sharing the interest of the lot, splitting the lot, anything like that, I would be very open to those discussions as well.
Unfortunately, I don't think she would be open to sharing.
I think it would come down to, the 232 at least it would come down to the price. Because I know, yeah, that is a pretty important lot for her, and so she would need to be generously compensated for that if that's something that could be very important.
And then if you don't mind my asking, does the relationship of the importance of lot 232 have to do with lot 230, the lot that's currently an unofficial park?
So again, we weren't given authority to discuss other lots. Essentially, we came here to discuss lot 234. Our client is open to potential discussion of 232, depending on the price that's offered, but we were not at liberty. We're not at liberty to discuss 230.
Yeah, to the best of our knowledge, whether or not they're connected, like the purpose of them, I don't know. But like I said, we can negotiate on 232 if it is something we need. Like our client has stressed that, like after a certain point, she'd be willing to see it go. But
But again, it's important to her, so that would have to be a good price for her to let go of 232.
Okay. Um, Before we move on, do you mind if I ask a couple questions about lot 230 as well?
If we know.
If you have any information on the lot, I don't know if you
Well, we
will.
really weren't given the authority to discuss lot 230 at all. It's really important for our clients that to keep that kind of. I mean, you can ask some questions, but we might not be able to give you an answer.
Okay. Um,
Should we pause
Can we
this?
pause
I
it?
can
Yeah.
ask.